We are live again. Hello. On this, of course, a beautiful, cloudy, rainy, windy Sunday in Florida. We definitely did have our share of water here with that storm, thanks to Debbie. And we now have electrical problems, so we will see. I'm waiting for a technician. So if I have to leave all of a sudden, we have some beautiful people here who will take over. They do that anyway, so I don't need to worry. We have with us, of course, as usual, for years now, Sara from Virtuous Unicorns and Gary Parent. That was helping his dad with something, and he will try to come on, but we don't know when or if. And we will, of course, miss him, but Gary always has to share a lot too. I do have a bunch of questions, and one was actually quite interesting. Yeah, oh, I have to share a little bit more about our backgrounds. We are all, you could say, Dr. Morse, Dr. Robert Andy Morse fans. No, I should say that Dr. Robert Morse Andy, naturopath. We learned a lot from him. Gary and I are also iridologists, so we can read your eyes and help you with that. And we are certified and trained and certified counselors. Um, I think that is important to know because we do follow his teachings because that it was the only one from me after, well, you could say about 20 years of research for me on how to heal. And finally, what he said was made sense. And I went through, I think about all the diets that you can even think of, including all raw, and but still with nuts and seeds. And once from Dr. Morse, I learned leave that out and see what happens. And that's where the magic did happen. So this is what we are sharing about his teachings. If you want to learn more about him and all his videos, one, two a week, then go to Morses.tv and you will find in all his videos also about topics that YouTube didn't like. So they took out his channel and now all the videos are on his personal site, Morses, MORSES.tv. So we got that out of the way, so we can start with the first question, and that was my partner will visit the gynecologist, and I'm wondering what if the doctor says to her that she has no more eggs? Is it possible to reproduce it? And I actually found that an interesting question because throughout my adult life, I didn't even know that I was born with a certain amount of eggs. And so it was quite interesting because sometimes you see people of an well, quite a higher age that's still getting pregnant. And so I was diving into that, and I learned that babies who have ovaries are born with all the egg cells they ever going to have. No new egg cells are made during their lifetime. This has long been accepted as a fact, and a resource in 2004 initially claimed to show new X stem cells in mice. And this theory has been generally refuted by a wider scientific community, though there's still a small group of researchers pursuing this work. And that would actually be quite interesting. If I mean, if it can happen in mice, then why couldn't it happen in us? I think we don't really know. And the funny thing, I think, is that when somebody asks, how many eggs are humans with ovaries born with? Well, it is as the fetus is in development, a baby with ovaries has about 6 million eggs. I don't know how they counted that, but anyway. The number of these eggs is steadily reduced to what, when the baby is born, they have between 1 million and 2 million eggs left. And sources differ slightly on this number, but most cite a figure within the millions. I thought that was quite interesting that we actually do have that many eggs. I didn't even know it was that many. Do you have any, guys, do you want to add anything to that?
Mm, I would assume that it would be different for different females. The amount, because some people are sterile and some have difficulty getting pregnant. Uh, I would assume that you could generate an egg even if you were out. I mean, it's a cell, and cells regenerate, but I don't know that as a fact. Um, but I knew that there was a limited number where, let's see, how did that go? Women can do what with one egg, what takes a billion sperm to do, and that's get pregnant. So it's like a billion to one, and it doesn't always work. Uh, but other than that, and other than the fact it's an electrical charge, the egg is here when the sperm hits it, it actually glows light. It's an electrical illumination, and that's what fertilizes the egg. And that's true with anything that has eggs. So I find that fascinating.
Yeah,
But
it is absolutely a fascinating topic. It's not really that important only for people, for women who cannot get pregnant. It would definitely be important. And,
but
we heard from Dr. Morse being on the correct diet and the herbs, they got pregnant. Guys, I already got a message that the technician for my power in the house is on its way, so I do have to leave. I try to this is one. I have metal toxicity. Do metals also store in the lymph system? And is it possible to get rid of metal toxicity on the protocol?
you want to take that, Sarah?
Yeah. Okay. I have to leave for a little bit,
Okay.
and I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just keep talking.
Okay.
Tony, is
We
there
got it.
any way you can send us the list that you have and we can kind of work through them?
I think I already put it. No, I didn't. Okay, let me see.
Okay.
Let me do that really fast.
Well, I wanted to bounce back so that way we're not rushing through these questions either. But as far as like the women's eggs and stuff, I do not have any kind of background in this whatsoever. But um, I mean, I kind of agree with what Gary was saying. I mean, can't we replicate? Um, I really don't know how to put them in words, but I believe our bodies are miracles, and I believe God made us exactly how we're supposed to be. Now, there are um, there are different things that can interfere and then cause us to be sterile and things like that. But since God made our bodies like with electrical and the spark of life and things like that, I believe that anything can be reset and be cleared and regrow with given enough time in the proper environment, things like that. Um, but I mean, I don't want to say those are my facts, but those are my beliefs that,
Mhm.
I believe in that God gave us everything we need. And if for some reason somebody is not gifted a child in this lifetime, it does not mean that your life is any different. It just means that you may have a different role to play in this lifetime. And it might be something that you have to focus on heavily, whereas you wouldn't be able to do this if you had to raise a family and put your time and effort into that as well too. So know that every experience we have here is like a blink of an eye. It's just a little needle in the tapestry of life or a blimp on the timeline. So always have your faith in God and know that everything that happens is exactly part of the plan. And sometimes, yes, we can be, kind of kicked down and kicked back or put on hold. But at the same exact time, if you're being virtuous and you are putting God first and you are not doing anything like selfishly and things like that, you're kind of looking for the signs and signals and following where you should be, then that's just where you should be. And believe me, like all of us know that life is not fair, but we don't have an understanding of it. It feels like we don't even have an understanding of it. So you just have to trust and have faith, and have faith in the protocols, have faith in God, have faith in your miracle body, and have faith in the research that we are all doing. And Dr. Morse has already laid down for us, and all we can do is see.
Fantastic. I like it.
And as far as the heavy metals, I mean, absolutely. Moving on to the next question, they can be removed from your body following the protocol. I don't like you guys explained at the very beginning. Like, I'm not one of the Dr. Morse practitioners. I've done lots and lots of research and listened to tons of his videos and did a lot of the readings, but I'm definitely not been certified, and I don't have any kind of degree in this. But I mean, just the grapes alone and allowing your body to do its work in the departments where it should be doing its work, your body will start to, what is it called, chelate or chelation of some sort of the heavy metals out of your body. But I don't know if you want to speak more technically to that, Gary.
Well, I like to keep things kind of on a general. So heavy metals, because they accumulate in the body because the lymphatic system is not flowing, there's more coming in than the body can eliminate, so it starts to build them. But the body is designed to get rid of anything that enters the body can eliminate, but it needs our help. And it has already been doing it. But like I said, if it's an accumulation, if it's coming in faster than it can eliminate things, then that's when you start to have toxic buildup of anything. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be an allergy. It could be whatever, right? And it was funny. I was doing Qigong with a group the other day, and one of the guys there, Jim, started to taste metal in his mouth while we were cleaning the 6 lymphatic gates. And I found that very interesting that he could taste metal. I know when my mother was doing chemo, really heavy metal started to come up through her tongue, and it made her not want to eat. It was so intense. So the body is constantly trying to eliminate. So it really doesn't matter what it is, the amount of what it is. Like if you get bit by a rattlesnake, you know, that's heavy and it's fast. And this is the one time, two times really, that you can use urine. Because when you get bit by something or you swallow something, your tonsils are actually, which you have 6 of, not just 2. They're constantly reading the air and the food and the liquid we're putting into our body. And they create antidotes to vaccines. Not vaccines, but viruses. So that's what our body does. Our body has a natural ability to maintain its health, even if a virus comes in our body. And the white blood cells just go in and eliminate it. Well, as we get weaker and we start getting jabs, it weakens our body. And then we're shallow breathing and we're not doing live foods and liquids. So that is part of our own immune system. The body is self-regulating in every aspect. So pushing those toxins out. So it takes proper breath, which is 70% of our detox if you're breathing properly. And sweating, urination, defecation. These are all things. What the body doesn't want, it pushes it out through the 13 channels of elimination. And so by keeping these 6 lymphatic gates open, it's easier for it to flow through the body. It's when they get stuck that it starts to build up behind it. So everything has to travel from the balls of the feet all the way right up through to gate 1, which is just above your collarbone, above and below it. So that's why it's good to lay down at night and rest. When we rest, the lower half of our body detoxes. So, and this would include heavy metals, include everything. So if you want general health, I would suggest you do general breathing through the nose, out the mouth. There are many different ways to do breaths. They all have one thing in common. We inhale, we exhale, and that's what they all have in common. So there's no way to do this wrong. Now, like I said, the diaphragm is automatic, but we can manually override it just by breathing and dropping that diaphragm, and everything up here relaxes and everything down here gets massaged. 2/3 of our fluid are from our groin to our chest, to our solar plexus. And so as the heart and the relaxes, the diaphragm drops down, makes more room for the lungs to expand, and the rib cage opening up. This is so important with our breath. That's how we get a proper breath, and that's most of our detox. We're eliminating heat from the body. If you just hold your hand up like this and go, just blow on your hand, it's cool. But if you go, it's warm. So that's how we control the temperature in our body. We can with our mouth, with our breath. And so, and the sound is the heart sound. And what's in heart, the word that's inside heart, is ear, because the heart is always listening. And if you take the H, is that what it is? No. I'll get back to that one later. So, yeah, if you take the H and put it on the other end, it spells earth. So if you take heart and take the H off and put it on the side, you have earth. That's where it comes from. It comes from the earth, but it's charged by quantum. The breath is quantum. It's quantum energy. It's the most powerful force we have, is our words. And I'm sure you know that spelling, we're casting spells simply by the intention we put on the words we speak. So in the beginning, there was the word, and the word said, "Let there be light," which shows us words are more powerful than light. And we are constantly speaking the light and darkness into our life simply by the words we choose and the intention we put on them when we say those words. And it goes out and it's reflected back to us by our group, by what we see, by how we experience the world. And when we change our story, you have a relationship that falls apart, or you go through bankruptcy and you have to start over, a health issue, as you learn and you grow and you change your story, your life changes. That's how powerful we are. So if you want heavy metals out of your body, the first thing I would do is fruits, berries, melons, some vegetables, and change your story to, my body is amazing at eliminating heavy metals. It works on it and eliminates them every single day of my life. Every day, every night, 24 hours a day, my body is eliminating toxins. The sun is the other half of my lymphatic system, and my skin is my third kidney. So when the sun hits my skin and I start to sweat, it's pulling cellular waste out through the lymphatic system. And if you're not sweating, then chances are you have congestion in your lymphatic system, which is not good. And I mean, We are infinite beings in an infinite universe with infinite potential, living in a world of abundance, because we have never run out of anything. In the 40s, we were going to run out of gas. In the 50s, we were going to run out of gas. In the 60s, we were going to run out of gas. In the 70s, we were going to run out of gas. We've never run out of gas. It's how they raised the price on anything. We are taught self-doubt, fear, and scarcity. That's what school teaches us. That's what the news teaches us. We're actually living in a world of abundance. They've never run out. They're manufacturing more things right now than they ever have. So when we realize we're being misled, some might say lied to, but I'd rather call it a influence to believe things that aren't true in this world, we can have anything we want. And it is just that simple. You put it in your story, and your story will create it. So I wouldn't fear heavy metals. As your body is detoxing things, and there are herbs, and I don't know them right off the top of my head, but there are herbs that will also eliminate heavy metal. But breath, movement, rest, changing our story, grounding to the earth, these are the things that empower our body. And when we're generating more energy through slow movement than we're burning, and energy creates matter. So if there's something that's wrong with the matter in our body, no matter where it is, our breath, when used properly, will generate the energy that will heal it. But you have to build more energy than you're burning. And that's what Qigong is all about. And I see it, I mean, it is mind-blowing that things that have happened in class, people that have collapsed fingers. And I have pictures of this. And it took a few weeks and pop, that finger popped up because it's electrical. And they were hemorrhaging from the lungs for 14 years. That finger was down 14 years. Hemorrhaging for 14 years. Gone in just a matter of weeks. Doing live liquids, breath work, movement, rest, and having fun, laughing. The class is based on laughter and being kids again. Almost everything we're taught is an illusion. The only thing that's real is our body. And we are not our body. We're the energy in our body, and the energy is the caretaker of the body. And it's a generating plant. And the more energy we can generate with the littlest amount of movement, the body will detox and heal itself. It doesn't have a choice. So I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Gary, I'm back for a minute.
All right.
We have two guests on, from Fabrice and Rob. And I just put another question for Sara to use in the personal chat. Did you get them, Sara?
I got them off of WhatsApp, but let me look at that personal chat as well.
I put one in the meeting room, in the chat room from Zoom. I don't know if you can read that.
Well, if our guest would like to start first, we can do that.
Yeah, if they have questions, of course.
Yeah.
Who starts first, Rob or Fabrice?
Okay.
Fabrice, you were here first, so you go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I have question concerning women, pregnant women, and which herb, which formulas can we use, or we don't have to use with pregnant women.
What to use and what not to use. Is that correct?
What to use? Yes.
Well, the first thing I would do is raspberry leaf.
Sorry.
That really,
What?
raspberry leaf. Like a little red raspberries?
Raspberry leaf.
Yep, raspberry leaf.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
Can I ask a question first? What kind, what are you looking to do during the pregnancy or heal, or what are the reasons you're seeking herbs?
Yes. And my question was concerning Dr. Morse formulas.
Oh, okay. Do you want to take that, sir?
Well, I was going to say, why though? What are you seeking the formula for? Like, what's the outcome you're looking for? Does she have like any issues during the pregnancy, or is she trying to detox during pregnancy, or what are you looking to accomplish with the
Yes.
herbs?
The problem is she has fatigue, and I know that during pregnancy it's not the time to do strong detox. So
Hmm.
my goal is only to show her how to slow detox and have a good diet, and try to increase energy in the body. So not to do a strong detox, just a little detox, have a good diet, and to feed the baby correctly. So
How far along is she in the pregnancy, and is this her first pregnancy?
I don't ask if it's the first pregnancy. I will ask her. It's the 40th week.
Did you
Uh,
say 14 or 40?
40, 40, ouais, 40.
Like 40?
No, no, 1 4.
Okay, 14. Yes. Okay. Okay. I believe that's still her first trimester. Is she what does her diet look like? Is it vegetarian, vegan? She
No,
eating meat?
for the moment, it's a standard diet for the moment, but she will change for more fruits, more salads, and for the beginning, I say to her that she can keep some cooked veggies, to not start to fast in the
Yes,
in the
100%. Toni just said in the chat too that she would recommend the mucusless diet. She could start there, and it's a PDF that has been created. There's a link in the YouTube channel down below in the notes to it, and you can get that. But I 100% agree. That would be, I believe, still her first trimester, and you would not want. I mean, there's already sickness in the first trimester too, with hormonal changes and just changes in general, especially if you've already been on a standard diet. But introducing distilled water and like some fruit juices, and taking out the fat of the diet, which that'll do in the mucusless food list that's going to be provided to you, or you can pull off the website, and rest and grounding, like barefoot walking out in the grass. And if she can take nice walks in the forest. I know this all sounds very like kind of, it's very low key because we don't want to shock her system, especially with being pregnant in her first trimester too. Gary can speak to any of the herbs, but that is where I would start out, is with introducing more fruits and some soft leafy greens, maybe some steamed vegetables, nothing that's going to be too hard to digest, and upping her water intake of distilled water. And if you can't get access to that, then just use the best clean source of water that you can find. And of course, resting, allowing her body to go through this process. And I mean, she's creating a life within her right now. And adding these changes to her will just give her lots more hydration and should start making her feel better and not having so much fatigue. But I will let Gary speak on the side of any of the herbs or formulas from the.
So I just writing down here. Did she change her diet after she became pregnant?
My first, I speak to her for the first time today, so she's just beginning now. So
Okay. So that would be a question is, has she changed her diet? Because a lot of women do that. When they get pregnant, they stop drinking and, you know, and I'm not saying she was drinking before. I'm just saying these are things that people do.
yes, she changed some things, but not for the not to to the to fruit or veggies.
Okay.
So
So,
she will try to change now.
okay. Okay. Was she fatigued before?
Yes, but more now during the
More now. Yeah,
pregnancy.
well, yeah, she's got two lives, two bodies to feed. So the baby is drawing from her supply, her energy supply. I would myself personally, I'd call Dr. Morse's clinic and have them prescribe their formulas for you if you're looking for Dr. Morse herbal formulas. They have a lot of things for pregnancy. And I don't know a lot of the herbs about that, you know. I all I can say is what her diet was before. She was already fatigued, so yeah, it would make sense that she's more fatigued now that there's two bodies instead of one. Breath work, definitely. Long, slow, deep breaths in through the nose, hold as long as comfortable. So it'd be, and you hold as long as you can because this builds energy in the body. Okay. And then you exhale through the mouth and you go, and do like 5 of those, maybe every hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever you can think of and is comfortable. You can do up to 10. It's not something that I would recommend if you're driving down the road or something like that. You could do 5 probably, especially after your body gets used to it. But making sure that the rib cage is flexible because the oxygen that's going into the body has to make it down through to the baby. And the baby and the electricity, the electrical charge in the body is done mostly through the breath. And when you learn to breathe properly, 70% of your detox is through your breath, if you breathe properly. So then you add in your live liquids, like your fruit juices or fruit smoothie, green juices, green smoothie, because she's building and fruits will keep your cells clean, fruits, berries, and melons, and they're good antioxidants. But the veggies are builders. So I would do maybe my breaths in the morning, first thing in the morning. Do your juices, one juice. I myself personally would recommend raspberry leaf and 1 or 2 cups a day. Let it steep maybe 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes at the most. And one of those in the morning and probably one mid-afternoon or something like that, or whenever the body feels it needs it. Because this is a time, especially when they're going to be a mom, their focus is on the baby. And I don't know what her stress is like either. Does she work? Does she have a stressful life? Because that would.
I will ask to her.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, just ask, because the more stress she's under, the more energy it takes away from her and away from the baby. So we want to, and breathing like I just showed you, in through the nose and out through the mouth, turns on the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and heal. So breath is super important when you're in our own life, let alone when you're pregnant and you're bringing that child in, right? So we want to energize the body as much as possible and use the fruit, berries, and melons to clean the physical body, and the breath to ignite or charge the electrical body, because the breath is electrical. Just like fruits, berries, and melons are electrical too, but they're for the physical body. The breath is for the quantum body.
If my memory is okay, I remember that Dr. Morse says that she can use superfood. No.
Yes. That would be important, because the more nutrition that we can get in, the more nutrition is available for the baby, and keep that lymphatic system moving. The breath will do that. Walking will do that. Walking out in the woods will do that. And that will get that, because the trees give off oxygen. They're the other half of our lungs. And we're the other half of their lungs. So they're breathing what we exhale, and they're exhaling what we breathe. So just a nice walk. No, you don't have to run. You don't have to do anything. The important thing is to move slow enough so you're building more energy in the body than you're using. And the mind is a great energy thief if you're under a lot of stress.
Okay. Thank you.
And yes, you're welcome.
And lots of fresh water. I mean, take
Yes.
in lots of water. And like I said, if you can get a hold of distilled water, that'll be the best. But if not, get the most clean source of water that you have access to.
Okay.
And you can get a distiller. I think a distiller is 300, something like that. And it takes a couple hours to make like I think it's a gallon. It takes a couple hours to make a gallon.
Mm-hmm. It does.
So
Yep.
And there's a lot of great distiller companies out there that make these distillers. They just sit on your shelf, and they just look like a regular appliance. So yeah,
It's like
really
a giant
important.
coffee pot. And
Yep.
everything we're saying, aside from the herbs and everything, is beneficial for everyone, including yourself or anything like that. So fresh air, walks, good breathing, distilled water, lots of fruit, cut out the fat. Of course, we believe, no meat, dairy, eggs, but, definitely no fat, even if you do decide to still consume your meats. Try to limit your fat, but just somebody that's transitioning, and they're still taking in meat at this time and they haven't decided to give it up yet, cut the fat out. That's one of the most important things you can do. And then slowly start transitioning off of the meat and then into a more fruit, berries, melon lifestyle. And watch your food combining as well too. If you're going to eat melons, you have to eat melons alone. And there are more charts and everything that'll be listed below. I know Toni has some over on her website and her Facebook groups. I'm sure Gary has some as well too. But fruits, berries, melons, water, sunlight, rest, walking, and breathing. Those are all the good keys to a good life.
Yeah, really, to take care of the baby, you just take care of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you for asking your questions and being here. And if you have any other questions, just pop back in on Thursday or shoot any of us a message, and we'll do the best that we can to help you. But like Gary said too, just call down to Dr. Morse's clinic, And they answer the phone too. When I first got into this, I was like, well, I'll never probably speak to somebody. No, they answer the phone. So you'll definitely speak to somebody when you do call them. And, they're wonderful, kind people. So good luck with everything, and just keep us
Yes.
updated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, if things come up and you have some questions next Thursday or later today even, yeah, we'd be more than happy to help you as much as we can. Because if we don't build communities, we're going to be in trouble.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Rob, if you wanted to go ahead and pop on.
Okay, hello everyone.
Whoa.
I am currently on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and I'm waiting for a ferry, so I might have to move my car up here shortly, but I'll let you know if that happens. I have a few questions. I've been a fruitarian predominantly for about 4 years now, and lost a lot of weight and feel so much better. But obviously, just continuing this journey, I've got a few questions. Dry brushing, consumption of nuts and seeds, sea moss, and the one thing that I do get, and I just had one recently, is cold sores I get a cold sore about every year or two, and it seems to be instigated by too much sun, if I'm out in the sun too much. And I've since bought a lip balm that has an SPF in it, but ultimately I'd love to get that virus out of my body. So yeah, I don't know where I should begin. Any of those topics resonate with anyone, or?
So with the nuts and seeds, are you having issues with them? You having a hard time digesting them?
No, that's not the case. I'm just curious about, like, you read online that truly raw nuts and seeds are hard to find, that there's processes that render them not actual. Apparently in the US, they have to be pasteurized, and sprouted are better. Then some say they're alkaline, some say they're acidic. Are there any thoughts around that? Like how much or what particular ones might one consume, of course, in small numbers?
It's been my experience that, people that have a peanut allergy, right? There's mold on the nuts when they eat them. And it can even be in your peanut butter. But I found it interesting, about the canary in the coal mine. Well, they tested the gas and everything because the lungs are so small. If the bird died, they needed to get out. Well, what they do in peanut factories is they use squirrels. And they let them in on top of the nuts, and they won't eat any nut that has mold on it. And they're kind of like the canary in the coal mine, only it's for the nut group. And other than that, if your body is accepting the nuts the way they are, and you're not getting mold in your body or anything, I'd say go for it. Because it's more of they're hard to digest. That's been one of the issues. And if you don't have a gallbladder, no nuts at all, because the oils will really start to get to you. That is the job of the gallbladder, is to take care of heavy oils and things through the bile. So, and what were the other ones? Did you want to say something about that, Sarah? Do you want to add to that?
I do actually. I'm actually, if you have been fruitarian mainly for the last 4 years, you said, but you still are fighting off the viruses for the cold sores.
Yeah.
What I know that Dr. Morse did dive deep into that. That's actually pretty hard to get rid of. I mean, it's a sneaky little thing that does only surface. So when you go into the sun and you get a sunburn, or it brings out like a cold sore or something like that, then you still have acids in your body that's coming out, and the sun is pulling that out of you.
Right.
I would continue to try to really go hard at the detox. And I don't know the herb off the top of my head. I would kick the nuts and seeds for a little bit. Because I don't know anybody that just walks up and gets like two little neat seeds or two little nuts and eats them and is like, I'm satisfied. Usually we eat a couple of handfuls, and that's a ton of fat we're taking in. And even if it is from a raw seed or a raw nut, it's still a ton of fat. And if you're trying to digest all that fat and then you already still have a virus you're trying to target to get out of you, then I would cut that for right now. Get on, either call down to Dr. Morse and ask them, or if Gary knows specifically, or even if Toni can chime in, get on that herb as well too, and really kind of go hard at it and stick to your fruits and maybe some light leafy greens and keep testing it. That's what I would do. I'm very against SPF, so I would toss out that lip stuff. And I know that cold sores are terrible. They hurt. They don't look good, everything, but really just try to like target it. And if it surfaces, it means it needs to come out anyway. So just keep letting it, your body try to expel it out of you. I've even been told that it's, please correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, if you know, that virus is almost like a corkscrew and it kind of really gets into our liver, and it takes a lot to really pull it out. And I've heard apples are very good at that. So yeah, go ahead, Gary. Sorry.
Yeah, it used to be an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but we don't hear about those things anymore.
Well, I wouldn't do an apple a day. I'd do maybe like 3 or 4 a day.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, when I was a kid, that was the
Yeah,
thing. An apple a day
that
keeps
is
the
the
doctor
thing.
away.
It
And
does.
now with the peel and all that stuff, I don't know. So
Oh, I know.
I
That's
say a
what's
lemon a
scary.
day.
Yes.
I say a
Lemon
lemon a
water,
day keeps the
lemon.
doctor away.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't do this all the time, but I even I take like like I'll eat a lemon and then I will rub the peel like on my teeth and everything too. And people are so freaked out about that. And I'm like, it's opposite of what they told you.
Right.
Yeah,
And it leaves an alkaline ash behind.
it does. So I have
And
good strong teeth too. So
yeah. So yeah, I would call Dr. Morse, but they have virus. I think they have 1 and 2, or they would be better at advising you which formula you should have and whether it should be a tincture or not. It most likely will be a tincture. An herb that would work on that somewhat is echinacea, because that's a great viral herb. So, but yeah, I think Sarah's right. You know, that's why I mentioned that about the nuts and seeds. They're really hard to digest. And the more energy that it takes to digest your food, the less energy there is to heal your body. So it takes about, like, let's just use Thanksgiving as an example. People eat and fall asleep, or they drink and they fall asleep. Well, there's not enough energy. It takes about 60% of your available energy to digest your food. And if you're only producing 70 or 80% of its potential, your body's potential, then when you eat, your body's smart enough to know that it has to deal with the food you just ate, and it can't let you go out and do activities and digest the food, so it puts you to sleep, which is also known as a food coma. And I'm not saying you have those issues, but that's a big issue, is if we're burning more energy than we are generating, then dis-ease will follow. The vitamin C might help with that. Do you have any trouble with your gums or anything like that?
No. Really, no.
See, scurvy never went away. They just renamed it. People have gum issues. It's just a vitamin C issue. And lemons are full of vitamin C. So like with the Master Cleanse or with a fruits, berries, melons, there's a lot of vitamin C in them. So they will help to clean those things up, especially in a liquid form, like a smoothie. So water almost skips the digestive system. So all the energy that went to digest your food is now available to heal your body. But you can't live very long on a water fast. And then you move to fruit juices or green juices that you make yourself. It takes a little bit more energy to process that. Then you get into smoothies, okay, that takes a little more energy away from you. And then you start getting into like soups or things like that, or veggies. It takes more energy to digest those. So those are the things that we're doing, and they're all controlled by your breath. So it's really important, like I said before, to get your breath. Every emotion is attached to a breath, and every emotion in our body comes in through the breath, good, bad, or indifferent. And the only way it's going to come back out is through the breath. So how long have you had the virus issue?
My whole life.
Your whole life? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is something in your body that is allowing that to manifest itself. And do you drink or anything like that? No. No.
Gave all that up. Yeah. No coffee, no alcohol.
Okay. But it was that way before too. You had,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how often does it happen?
It's been the last maybe 5, 6, 7 years. It's about every 2 years I'll get one, and it's a day when I'm out in the sun all day, and that's when it seems to be triggered. Yeah.
Because Sara was right about the sun. There's acid in there. This virus is in there, and the sun is pulling it to the surface. And we don't want you living your life in the shade or in the dark, right? We want you to get out and enjoy the sun, because that turns cholesterol into vitamin D.
And don't fear the sun either. I mean, definitely, especially if you're on fruits, berries, and melons. Do you also burn in the sun? Do you get sunburn at all, or no?
I think maybe I learned this from Toni, that I don't burn as easily as I used to. I can stay out much longer now.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I know I've talked about that. I've done that myself, and I mean, I spend all day in the pure hot sun, and I still don't get burned either. And I think it's truly amazing. I'm not saying that everybody should run out in the sun. Like, definitely test it, because the sunburn does not feel good at all. But it's kind of like a good indicator as to where you are. But don't fear the sun. I would almost allow it to kind of like just keep coming out, and just keep trying to purify it out, and get on whatever herbs Gary's like recommending. I know Toni is really good at recommending help. She is a detox specialist. Gary, are you also a detox specialist?
Yes.
Yes. So, and I mean, you got lots of help here, and I think you've been on a great path. You seem to still be on a great path. Try kicking those nuts for a little bit, and even to this day, like, I will still maybe eat some nuts once a month, once every other month, something like that. I used to love peanut butter, but it just kind of is what it is. And once you kind of away from it, you start to feel a little bit better too. But and add some light leafy greens, not your kind of hard, more vegetables that have more cellulose in them. You want to make sure your body's not having to struggle with breaking that down. But once I think you do this and you kind of kick it, then you can kind of play around with some things like nuts and avocados and seeds, and just kind of see how your body reacts to those kinds of things.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Was there another question? Virus, nuts and seeds.
Yeah, I was curious about sea moss. I hear a lot about sea moss as being a lot of minerals in that, and a good smoothie, something to add into smoothies, and just wondering if that's recommended or suggested.
I recommend it. It does have some good salt in it. You have to make sure where it comes from in the ocean, with the way the oceans are right now. But yes, it does have a lot of minerals in it. And to me, the salt is really important, because it's natural salt. And that's where the minerals come from, is the salt. So yes, because our body can't run with it. It doesn't make salt, but it has to have salt to stay energized. So yes.
Gary, and quote me or correct me if I'm wrong on this too, but doesn't sea moss capture, they use it to clean up oceans and stuff like that too. So whatever it
Yes.
captures, it never releases out of the body.
Right. It would be part of cleaning up the body, because like I said before, the body absorbs what it needs as long as it's able to absorb in certain areas. But anyway, it absorbs what it needs and holds it in the body, and it eliminates what it doesn't through the channels of the body, through elimination, through, and we're sweating out salt, we're peeing out salt, we're crying out salt, and we're becoming more and more dehydrated all the time. I heard a naturopath say that we're 60% water. I'm like, I don't know if anybody knows exactly how much we are, but that's low. We're like 80, 85% in our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And from our neck down, we're at least 75% water, if not more. So they've been
Maybe we're
dehydrating
60% now because we're so dehydrated.
Yeah. Well, she was saying that we
society
should
as a
be
whole.
Yeah. They were saying that we should be 60%. And I'm like, whoa, and the body is self-regulating. And once you get hydrated, I mean, think about it. When you get dehydrated, what's the first thing you do when you go in the hospital? They use the saline solution, which is salt, to rehydrate you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we need a certain amount of salt. It's supposed to be in our food, but the way they're processing, picking the food, especially even your fruits, berries, and melons, that last 2 weeks, because they pick them 14 days before they're ripe, that last 2 weeks is when they get all their sugar and all their everything that's important for our internal body. And if it's not in there, well, we have to get it someplace else. And that's why it's important to know all these different things like sea moss and Himalayan salt and Celtic salt. And these are real salts, not table salt. Table salt has sand or aluminum in it.
And glass.
Yeah, and glass to keep them from sticking. And aluminum goes to the brain. It goes to the pineal gland. It's one of the things that calcifies the pineal gland. There's 4 things: fluoride, glyphosate, aluminum, and Wi-Fi. All help to calcify the pineal gland. And breath, doing a breath through the nose, a nice deep belly breath where our ribs are expanding, pushes on the primal brainstem and goes up, and it expands the plates in the head, and the pineal gland's in the cerebellum. So it's back here. And as that brainstem goes up, it starts shaking that pineal gland, and it will free itself from calcium deposits. So,
and we did a show on salt before too, and so it was a really big. It was actually a pretty long show. We had Thad, and I cannot remember the lady's name on there too, but with Toni, and we did a whole show on salt. So if you wanted to ever go back and read that, I do not personally like the salt, so I don't use it, whether it be the Himalayan or the table. Now, if it's in something that somebody else has already done, I can't control what other people do, but usually 90% of the stuff I would eat in the first place doesn't have salt on it. So I don't take in salt. But also, I was going to say about the sea moss, and then we can move on, is that if we were meant to have sea moss all the time, or even the algae and things like that, I believe that these are all tools that are just meant to get us back on track. And once you're on track, you don't necessarily need this stuff anymore. So it's almost like a boost to kind of help us, is what it really is for. Because we are not equipped to jump into the ocean and dive down deep for this and all this stuff. If we were, we'd have gills, things like that. So through science, we have found that this does help with X, Y, and Z because we've gotten off track. So this is not something I would add to my diet permanently. It might be something I would use as a tool. And then once I fix that part of myself, I might donate that tool to somebody else, So I wouldn't use it all the time, and I wouldn't plan on that as something, to have. Now, if it's something you just like in general, again, treat it like your nuts and seeds, use it here and there. and just rely very heavily on your fruits, berries, and melons, and
Yeah.
sunlight and breathing and rest and barefoot walking. I'm sure it's everything you've already been doing in the first place. So yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have
Yeah,
other? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. The one thing to just concur is, given that I live in Canada, particularly in the winter, our fruit is not, it's not tree ripened a lot of the time, right? So I do the best I can. I get a lot of frozen and so on. But my goal is to head south at some point.
Yes. Do you follow Eli Martin from Free Melon Society?
Yes.
Okay. No, he has some pretty good tips too. And I'm in Ohio, so I mean, we have like, I feel like apples all the time, but are always, coming up somehow. But yeah, I mean, it can be kind of hard to start finding stuff once winter kind of comes around. And also keep in mind too, you don't have to eat the rainbow. That's a big misconception. You just kind of eat what you have access to, or really what you like and stuff too. I know a lot of people say that you have to try to eat the rainbow every single day. Well, you don't. So, and I don't know if you're doing beans or not or anything like that, but
No, nothing like that.
good. And that's another misconception people have. Beans are just way too hard on our kidneys, and especially when you're detoxing. Again, everybody, please keep in mind, like I'm talking about when you're detoxing and when you are really trying to target something or trying to get yourself on track. Once you're on track, you can kind of experiment with how things are. I would not add beans to your daily diet, though. They have too much protein. They will eventually end up hurting your kidneys regardless, but you can have them here and there,
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's good for me. Thank you all so much.
Absolutely.
I did make it on this ferry, surprisingly, so I probably will lose connection fairly soon once the ferry leaves.
Well, then perfect timing. If you have any
Yes.
other questions, please reach out to us or, call back into one of the shows or something like that. We always love hearing from people.
Okay, I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah. Or just to update us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All the best to you.
Take care.
And you.
Thanks.
Gary, we have another question. If you still have time, it's 1:05
Good.
already, but we have actually a few of them, so maybe we'll try to get through them quickly.
Uh-huh.
The next question is pancreatic cancer, stage 4. They've been on grapes. Can you advise any herbs?
Cleavers. Like a meat cleaver. Kind of weird on a fruit berry melon show talk about a meat cleaver, but I just want to get the point. But it's cleavers, and cleavers opens up the lymphatic pathways. Breath work opens the lymphatic pathways. Walking opens the lymphatic pathways. Opening the 6 lymphatic gates. I have videos on that. I do it. It's something that's how we start all our routines now, is opening the 6 lymphatic gates. The gates are behind the knees, groin. That's so behind the knees is gate 6. Groin is 5. 4 is right here. There's a breath that you do with that. 3 is here. 2 is behind the ear, right above your jawbone. There's a little hole there. That's where the parasympathetic, the autonomic nerve comes out, and it controls sympathetic, parasympathetic. Sympathetic being fight or flight, and parasympathetic being rest, digest, and heal. And gate 1 is just above the collarbone, right by the neck, both sides. Okay. So when you open this and you open gate 2 up here, it drains this side of the head. And then over here, and you go to gate 2, it drains this side of the head. So that's why we have to do both sides. Like this, the body is split down the middle this way, and this half is electronically and manually controls the lymphatic system on this side, and same on the other side. So Doesn't take very long to do that. You add a few breaths in, a little bit of walking. It'll completely change your life, especially if you're barefoot. And when you breathe in through the nose, really important. Exhale through the mouth. There are tons of breath. I've been through this on this podcast already, but when you, it doesn't matter. No, I can't say it doesn't matter, but there are many, many breaths, but they all involve two things. First one is inhale, and the second one is exhale. So as long as we are inhaling on purpose, belly, that's what babies do. They breathe into their belly. That's a natural breath. But over time and school and all this stuff, we stop doing that. Some people, when you ask them to do a belly breath and they're with you, they can't do a belly breath because we've been taught that our belly has to be absolutely table flat. And you never want to show anything other than a flat belly. Well, in Qigong, a belly is a good thing because it shows that you're breathing out through your belly. You want those ribs to expand. This is a cage and the lungs are trapped inside. So as the cage is flexible, you see your fingers move apart and then you exhale and they come back together. You're turning on the parasympathetic. So that's rest, digest, and heal. And it's really, really, really important to master your breath. When you master your breath, you master your emotions. Doesn't mean that you won't be frightened. Doesn't mean that you won't feel, well, let's put it this way. Any emotion that you have that would make you feel fear came in through the breath. And as you learn to breathe and that starts to come up, you can release it from the body through your breath. And that, like I said, you'll still have the memory, you just won't have the emotional reaction. Your body won't trip into fight or flight, or if it does, it'll only happen for a second. And then when you change your breathing, you'll be back under control. And we see it all the time on nature films with, lions chasing a gazelle or whatever. And it was grazing. And then it senses the lion and it takes off running. Well, it's in fight or flight. It just switched. And what happens when you go in fight or flight? Brain fog. Can't make a decision. Heart rate changes. Digestion shuts off. Well, if you live in that state because you don't know how to turn it off and turn on rest, digest, and heal, that vibration over time is going to cause dis-ease in your body. So it's really important to have fruits, berries, melons, vegetables, and learn to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. If you're following Wim Hof, it's all in through the mouth, in and out through the mouth. And what's good about that is a lot of people can't breathe through their nose, so they don't have a choice. But you can work your diaphragm breathing through your mouth, but you have to really work at it. And if you're doing Wim Hof stuff, you're either laying down or sitting in a chair so that if your body just kind of, bam, goes back because either you've passed out or there are many things that can happen during the breath because it's so powerful. So if you're doing Wim Hof stuff, I say you lay on the floor, on your back, because you do 30 breaths. I'll do one and show you, but don't be doing this if you're driving or anything, all right? So it's, all right? You do 30 of those, and then you inhale, and you hold for as long as you can, and then you exhale, and you hold as long as you can. Then you do 30 of those, and you inhale, and you hold as long as you can, and you exhale, and hold as long as you can. You do 5 rounds, and trust me, you will go places you never dreamed that you were going to go. It's very eye-opening and mind-expanding. You can do the same thing with other breaths, and if you're not familiar with Wim Hof, You can look him up. He's all over the internet and stuff. So he holds 31, 32 world records for cold temperatures. And this spring, the beginning of March, it was super cold here. I did 14 days in a row, filmed 14 days of cold plunges. And that's all free to watch. So, and in each one, I'm explaining the benefits of being in the cold. And I did one cold shower, just to show people that, you know, you can do this in the shower. I wanted to go do a cold plunge at a facility where they have cold plunge tanks, but I never did get to do that. But yeah, we are the masters of our body, and we are not victims like we're trained we are. When you master your body will be self-generating and healing. Energy knows nothing of age. You walk in a doctor's office and they say to you, like, I don't care if it's your eyes or whatever it is, and they go, yeah, right on time. Run as fast as you can to the fruits, the berries, the melons, doing the breath, and just helping your body heal. Our head is not attached to our body anymore. It's out here in the matrix, caught in the flow of chaos. And when you learn to breathe, it centers you and you ground yourself. It is amazing how much power you will realize that you have, and the illusions that are out here that are influencing us to stay in a phase of fight or flight. And the only thing that'll bring us back is breath. And I was going to say, with the lions chasing the impalas, as soon as that lion is gone and that threat goes away, they go back to grazing. But right here behind their front leg, their body shakes. Their skin shakes. And that little movement changes their breath and puts them from fight or flight back into rest, digest, and heal, so they can graze and not get sick. That's the way we are. We can shake, you know. Well, anytime we get sick, we shake. You know, it's like, you know, you get the shivers and the shakes and it's the body trying to shake it off. So shake in advance. It moves every cell, and any mucus that's around it is starting to shake it, and it starts shaking it off, just like breathing moves the pineal gland. And as it does, the pineal crystals that are all over the pineal gland start to bang together, and they generate energy. And that energy flows through our whole body. And we call that energy orgasm. Well, we can send that back up and have a brain orgasm where the energy doesn't leave the body. It goes to the pelvic floor. We close the pelvic floor and it goes right back up the spine, right into the brain. And that is energy that is like crazy powerful as far as healing you goes, and grounding you and opening your mind to new possibilities, new ideas in this infinite world that we live in. So, I mean, do you want to add to that, Sarah, or did I add to it?
No, you did wonderful. The other thing is I don't know where this question came from. I don't know if it came from the Facebook group or somebody was asking in the chat or not, but keep in mind, cancer, it does sound scary. They've led us to believe scary, but cancer is the body's last resort to try to protect us. So it is trying its hardest to do everything in order to protect it from spreading or going anywhere else. And I do know that it does say stage 4, but the best thing you can do is just go on your fruits, berries, and melons. And maybe specifically, I see you're already on grapes full time. You should 100% be working with a practitioner at this point, so that they can monitor you, so they can advise you, whether you're working with Gary, Toni, or anyone else that does the Dr. Morse, or calling down to the clinic yourself and working with somebody one-on-one. I cannot advise that more. If you're having questions that you're having to ask in a group setting or a group chat, you have to get with a practitioner of some sort. Please definitely do that. Don't just be asking questions in a group, trying to figure this out on your own. Time is of the essence when you're kind of at stage 4. I'm not saying that, you're at the end of anything. I'm just saying you're at a more critical state. So please let somebody work with you and help you. But continue on doing what you're doing and work with a practitioner and see how much more help you can get and which herbs you should be on. Even if you get on some herbs that you heard maybe Dr. Morse or Gary or Toni talk about, you're not sure if it's really working. You do need to be with somebody because they might have to adjust it or put you on something else as well too.
And water.
Oh, yes, lots of water, and I would say
Yeah.
distilled water, and so that way it'll help pull stuff out. And then, of course, if you can't get access to distilled water, get the best clean source of water that you possibly can. I would not be putting anything extra in your body that doesn't need to be. That includes lotions, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, anything like that. Your body 100% needs to be focused on healing.
And the other thing is, a tumor is a sterilized container because it's keeping it out of your system. That's why the body is putting it in that trash can. Let's call it a trash can. A tumor is a trash can. And when it doesn't know what to do with something, it starts sending it to a certain area. And that starts, if it's growing, it's getting bigger and bigger. It's a lymphoma. Even by the medical system, it's a lymphoma. And the lymph is the bathroom of the body, and there's stagnation there, congestion. And when you open up those pathways, the lymphatic pathways with proper fruits, berries, melons, herbs, changing your story from impossible to infinitely possible. My body is excellent at eliminating toxic waste, no matter how bad it gets. That's what it's trying to tell me. It's trying to show me that in this elimination process, I can assist it. I can help. And that's going to take proper hydration and nutrition and oxygen, especially the oxygen, the breath work. It gets things moving. It starts to break up stagnation. And that waste, once that opens up, that tumor will get smaller and smaller, and it will start to go away. Half of the issue is, and I'm not saying you're doing this now, but half the issue is we're feeding it. So no sugar, no, and that's not fruit sugar. That's man-made sugars. Because man-made sugars will drain your energy. And the energy is what you want to heal you. And that's why the breath is so important and the hydration. And when you mix them together, think of it like if I wanted to, if this right here was dirty and I wanted to wash it, what would I do? I would take some soapy water and I would wash it. Well, that's what fruits, berries, melons are to the body. They're going in and they're cleaning that lymphatic system. They're cleaning the mucus from around the cells and it's pushing it out through the channels of elimination the body uses. But right now, that's not happening at the speed that it needs to. It's actually building faster than the body can eliminate it. And then all of a sudden, the stagnation is, it's not at its worst, but it needs to get that in there to break that up, to move it. And that is, if you can find somebody that does Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga or stretching, or you need to get that tissue moving. And as it moves, it starts to soften up. And as it softens up, more blood and lymph can get in there to feed and clean. And the next thing you know, everything will start going in the opposite direction. And it can happen really quick, and it can take a long time. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you're not, definitely look him up. He's had people with 50 tumors in their body. And in 7 days of working with Dr. Joe, now this is not, it's not normal, but it's not normal either. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but all 50 tumors were gone and they were cancer free. People that have a hard time walking are now walking. People are getting up out of wheelchairs and they're living life again. I don't know if you know, and this is probably, I've been trying to figure out a different way to say this, but schizophrenia. People that have true schizophrenia, they have like 1, 2, 3, 4 personalities. Well, as they shift in and out of those personalities, their eyes can change color, the hair can change color. I mean, it's like that. It's quick. They can have cancer. They can have, you name it, they can have it. Spots on their arms, and their skin tone changes color. I mean, right before your eyes. Because they're not that person anymore. They're a new person. And through breath and through the correct story, building a story of possibilities in the now that will change your future, you can create the person that doesn't have that doesn't have stage 4 cancer. It can move into a different category. So if you're not familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, I'd go check him out. He's got tons of videos and testimonials. There's a video group that he does, Happy Face Videos. And if you put it in, put Happy Face Videos, Dr. Joe or Dr. Joe Dispenza, because there are other Happy Face videos. So you want his Happy Face Videos, Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it's about his retreats. And I think there were 16,000 people at his last one. And I've been to some of his seminars, and they are mind-blowing. What you see there, and the people, and the attitude of the people. And there are people there that are really, they have a lot of dis-ease in their body. And does everybody get it right off? No, but it's about breath, and it's about your story, and the possibilities, and being around thousands of people that are all doing and feeling the same thing. You can't help but elevate your emotional state. So that's what I would recommend, and getting hold of Dr. Morse and working with some counselors down there that, I mean, we are powerful beyond measure. So
we are. We surely are.
Yeah.
We have, we'll move on to the next question. Let's see. What kind of healing crisis could cause vertigo, if any? I've had it for over a week now, came on suddenly, and I have been on all raw, mostly fruits for a few months. I mean, I believe it's the lymph stagnation in the head causing problems with the inner ear.
Yes.
And that you're just, if you have been on all raw, I would definitely say move more over to the fruit section of it. You can get on orange juice or be eating your oranges. Those are very pulling of any kind of lymphatic drainage in the head. Gary can talk about opening the pathways to start draining. You definitely want to get your kidneys in shape for that. So that way the lymph does have somewhere where it can drain out or come out of your body through, and make sure they're filtering properly. But I would say if you have been on the raw, you are probably loosening stuff up that hasn't been loosened in a while. And it is causing the vertigo because it's messing with your imbalance and stuff like that within the inner ear. I would continue on the path, but I would definitely move more over to fruits, less veggies that have less cellulose in them, maybe some butter lettuce or something that's like a light leafy greens and tons of water that will help do that. I really wish, I don't know if you remember this, but it's been weeks now and I can't find this, but basically it's like distillation to dilution or whatever is a solution, or in other words, drinking tons of water is the only thing that's going to dilute any kind of mucus in your body.
Yeah, it goes back to stagnation or congestion. The inner ear is most likely inflamed. I wonder if they're having any sounds. I can't remember what it is right now, but like a seashell, you're from your inner ear.
Yeah.
Because
you mean.
Yeah, because vertigo is usually inflammation, or inside your inner ear, there are little stones in there. And if they get out of place, but that would usually comes from an accident or a fall. I would assume that it's inflammation. And they may know this. I don't know if they've been to doctors or who they've been to. And maybe, I don't know how long they've been detoxing or how heavy they're detoxing. Great herb is skullcap or ginkgo biloba. Dr. Morse has an upper circuit brain and nerve. I think he has 3 different ones. And they're all, like if you started on the first one, that'd be like a low level tincture, basically. Then there's another one that's a little heavier, and I think the third one is like even more aggressive. So I would definitely start with the lowest one and see what happens and give your body time to adjust to it. This is another thing. A lot of times we jump into things and our body hasn't adjusted to what we're doing. We're changing it so fast, and they work so well. The fruits, berries, and melons work so well, and the tinctures, that we break more toxins loose than the body can eliminate, and then we have cold and flu-like symptoms where we're achy and things like that. So a great way to slow down would be green smoothies, green juices. Anything we do that anything that we do from water to meat is affecting how our body is digesting, how much energy it's going to take. Everything is about energy. Every food that we consume has a vibration to it, and it either matches what's in the body or it makes it feel odd. Can make us sick if we have too much of it. Sugar is one of those things. If you have diabetes, it's sugar. If you have pancreatitis, it's sugar. It doesn't matter. Sugar is most of our problem. Dementia, like diabetes, that's a sugar issue. Well, now they're saying that dementia and Alzheimer's is stage 3, or Alzheimer's is stage 3 diabetes. Well, that's sugar. So we're having way too much manufactured sugar and not enough fruit sugar, which is a whole different subject. And I have a video on that where I have a conductivity light. I think we did one on the show, actually, where you plug the light in the wall and there's a line that runs out. And if you stuck it in your hand, it would turn the light on because it would be electrocuting you. You'd be completing the circuit. So, and here's a question. And I didn't know the answer to this until I did this. If you take water, clean, pure, dirty, doesn't matter, tap water, purest water you can find, and you take 110 volts, and it's right there live, not light bulb, and you put that in water, will it light that light? No. Water is not conductive until you get in it. So it takes minerals in water to make that light. So if you're consuming something and you're dehydrated, you're not generating as much energy as possible for your body, because it takes your food and it takes hydration at the same time, and movement and rest, to generate electricity in your body. So these are the things that we have to think about. And like we've said many times through this one particular podcast, is breath is your energy generator, and it's 70% of your detox if you're breathing properly. And that's belly breaths, getting that diaphragm moving, going for a walk. There's 3 lymphatic pumps: diaphragm, which you can override, and the balls of your feet, which are manual. And that's why it's so good for us to walk, because we're pumping up through those gates, 6, 5, 4, 3 to 1, and it's eliminated through that gate 1. It comes out and it goes into the kidneys and is eliminated. And when that process gets congested, mucus starts to form and acids start to build. And if it backs up in the house, like from here, there's all kinds of lymph nodes here, it backs into the chest. And we have things like breast cancer and bone cancer and all kinds of issues. If it's the 5th gate or the 4th gate, it's going to be back up in the house. And we'll have things like uterine and testicular and prostate and colon cancers and stomach cancers and all these things, because it's backing up in the house. It can't get out. And when we open those gates and we have good live liquids, we have good water, it flushes it. It starts to open that up. And the herbs like cleavers and Dr. Morse's lymphatic herbs, this is what opens the body up. And when it moves that out, dis-ease goes with it, because dis-ease cannot live in an alkaline body. And if you have major issues, whether that be cancer or heart issues, or it doesn't matter. It matters to you, yes. It matters to us. That's why we're here talking about it. But if the body is stuck, then whatever is in there, the body's trying to eliminate, and it can't. It's going to cause dis-ease in the body, and getting that lymphatic system moving through the balls of the feet, the diaphragm, and water. If I had a bowl of pudding right here and I could put more pudding in, doesn't matter. It's not hydrating it. It's just pudding. I can't clean the bowl. But if I take that pudding and I keep adding water to it, and more and more and more water, okay, I can start draining it off, and the next thing you know, the bowl's clean. That's your cell. And the mucus is the pudding and the acid, because the cell can't move. So as it absorbs, it digests and eliminates. If it's sitting, imagine if you sat even for 4 hours and you went to the bathroom in your pants, either way, 1 or 2, and you just sat there in it, it's going to burn your skin. So we need to clean that we're a cell. Our whole body is just a big cell. So we need to do that internally. We need to, if it's important to wash the external body, it's even more important to wash the internal body, to keep it clean and keep it alkaline, slightly alkaline. Extremely important to do that. So, okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Do we have another question?
Sorry, I was having trouble hitting unmute. No, that's a wonderful explanation to make sure all your channels are open and get it flowing out, and keep on that path. And it didn't take you a few months to get all backed up. I mean, it took you your whole life up to that far, and what you could have even been born with. Your mother could have already had dehydration, which passed it on to you, or your mother could have had stagnated lymph, which then passed it on to you, or depending on what your mother was eating while she was carrying you. I mean, there's so many different things. So don't give up, stay on the path, keep it going, get those channels open, because like Gary was saying, like, what other options do you have? Are you going to continue doing this process and opening those channels, or are you going to allow them to back up and then more and more stuff starts happening within the body? Definitely I would go, and I've been on raw for a few months. Okay. Fruit mostly fruit. Okay, that's the key word, is mostly fruit. You need to be all fruit if you're experiencing this kind of stuff. But like Gary said too, if it's going a little fast and it's making you sick, you can slow down. But I would definitely just keep going at it and just letting it, just deal with it for the next couple of weeks, and you'll feel better once you get to the other side. If any other questions arise or you keep having these issues, my recommendation is always going to be find a practitioner and be working with that person. It is your health. It's not like, it's a lifelong commitment. It's just something that's going to be something to get you on the path and get you going. So yeah, definitely keep on it. We did have one more question. For the past 6 months, I've been dealing with electrical shock down my left leg. Learned to live with it and told it's probably related to sciatic nerves. I woke up Saturday not being able to walk. The pain is unbearable. I was able to go to urgent care on Monday, and an x-ray of my lower back showed nothing wrong. I still can't walk without pain, but now my leg feels like it's shorting out and going numb. Is this the acids eating away at my nerves? I know my lymph system is backed up head to toe, and I am not doing fruit only. My diet is OMAD vegan, not raw though. I'm not sure off the top of my head what OMAD is, but I will say I do not believe it's the acids eating away at your nerves. I believe that you definitely have a lot of inflammation in that area that's probably really pushing on the nerves. But if you want to go ahead with that, Gary, well, hold on, one more other thing. Not raw though. I mean, that's the thing that we always push: fruits, berries, and melons, and that is a raw diet. So that's where you're going to see the quickest way to reduce the inflammation in your body. But if you want to go ahead, Gary, you can.
Yeah, I think that there's a joint pinching the nerve, and that's why you get these shots going down your leg, these electrical, like almost like a short circuit or something, where it just zips down through there. Well, you're moving just right. The inflammation in there has pushed things to the point where the joint is touching that nerve, and when it does, that's when you get that shock. It's kind of like having a tooth, and the doctor, your teeth don't bother you. You go in and they start digging around on your teeth, and they hit a spot every once in a while. You kind of jump back. Well, it's the same thing, only it's in your I assume it's your hip, and it's shooting down your leg. Now the psoas muscle, which is what connects your leg to your hip, is really, really deep inside there. It's super hard to get to, but you can get to it. And to be able to stretch that out, because it sounds like it's spasming, or it's next to spasm. And if you can get in a position where you can work that, and Dr. Perry Nicholson, probably I'd recommend for that. He has videos on that. So that psoas muscle, as it starts to shorten, and it's pulling that joint, it's pushing it together, and everything's out of alignment. So you're getting this electrical charge down your leg. Getting that muscle to relax is really important. It's right on the edge of spasm. It is not spasming, but it's on the edge of it, and that's why it's so uncomfortable. And that can happen with any muscle in the body, but we can get to those muscles pretty easily. So there would be more in the fifth gate. It would be down here in the along between the groin and the muscle when you're laying down. If people get in there and start pushing that around, there's 4 points there, and that would help to loosen that up. So, like I said, Dr. Perry Nicholson, who I learn a lot of stuff from. He's a chiropractor, but he always works on lymph before anything else, and I agree with that. If you have something wrong, you go to the lymph, not the blood. Going to the blood's okay, but I know a lot of people that have had blood work done and it came back normal, and they had issues when they went home, and serious issues, but their blood was normal. That's because it's a separate system. The blood is the kitchen, brings hydration and oxygen and nutrition to the cells, and the lymphatic system is the bathroom. And Dr. Morse talks about this all the time. So the bathroom, it cleans out all that acidic waste and pushes it out of the body. So the blood is absorbed, and the lymphatic system is there to push out what the body doesn't need or want. And a tumor, like I said, is just everything is a sterilized container. If you buy an apple, that's a sterilized container. And the liquid and the vitamins and the minerals and the enzymes and electrolytes, when you bite that, you're pulling them into your body, and they're not used that way. Methylation is part of your digestive system. And because of glyphosate, there's about half, not quite half the people in the country cannot process glyphosate. And what it does is it flips the methylation process. And the gene that is responsible for that is the MTHFR gene. And if you write that down and you look at it, you'll know what it spells. MTHFR. And that's what they call it. So your methylation process is off. So if you buy methylated, I think it's B6 and 12, the methylation process is already processed within those tablets. So you start to process things properly, and you get the glyphosate off or out of your food through true organic food. And a lot of issues people have will straighten themselves out. So I think that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, guys, I am back.
All right. Welcome.
And
Welcome back.
my electric problem is not fixed.
Uh-oh.
Aw, that
They need to
sucks.
they need to redo the whole electric wiring in that area, and I don't have
Oh.
the funds for that. So
Right.
some other
Huh.
time.
Well, we were just talking about the electrical wiring of the human body
In
as
the
well.
body, yeah, I
So
heard it.
too bad we can't have our bodies rewired. We can though, but it's an internal process that we go and have it rewired. We don't get to meet the workers though.
No.
Yes.
No, we are the ones responsible for that, and sometimes it's more complicated than we like it to be.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, those were wonderful questions. Toni, definitely go back and give a listen to the show because we had two wonderful guests on, and they might be reaching out for more. And I'm excited to hear about how their journey. Well, the lady that the gentleman was calling in for the pregnancy, and then the other gentleman who was over on Vancouver, Rob. I'm excited to hear about how he goes is experimenting with the sun and more fruit and less nuts and more water. So I realize that we all sound like broken records, and it's because it's the same as like when you're reading the Bible, like it's one true story. I mean, it's your fruits, your berries, your melon, your breathing, you're able to meditate or connect with God, whatever you want to call it. grounding yourself, walking in nature. These are all very simple things that all of us should be able to do to some extent. Not all of us do have access to clean water, but we just have to do the best that we can with what we have at our hands. The same thing with not all of us live in this beautiful tropical environment where we have fresh fruit around all year round, but we have to do the best with what we have available to us. And God understands that, and our bodies understand that. I should say, understand. They understand that, and they will work the best that they can. Staying hydrated, that's just so important. So, yeah, we sound like broken records. This is the advice that we're going to start out with everyone. And then from there, we can kind of critique what else can be offered to you at that time to try to help. And I always refer back to, like, what do I have in my toolbox that I can use at this time? It may not be a tool I have to use all the time. It's just something I need every now and again. But all we're really trying to do is just get you balanced and back on track. So every single person on here, start out with your fruits, berries, and melons. And then we can kind of go from there. And of course, your clean water. But I am at my time limit of what I have available today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this podcast. And Toni, I'm very sorry to hear about your whole electrical stuff. I hope it's not too hot for you. But it
No,
is Florida.
it's fine in the house. It is an extension where we have a freezer and a washer and dryer,
Oh,
and
that's right.
that
Okay.
whole area doesn't work. So I put the freezer on an extension cord, so because it's full with frozen fruits, I don't want
Oh,
to
yeah.
wait because it's expensive enough as it is.
Yeah.
And but it's like when you hear the cost like $1,100-$1,200, it's like, oh, I have to think about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It should have been done right the first time.
Well, I had the previous owner was loved experimenting. That's why I
Oh,
have no, I think almost a dozen outlets in my kitchen. So but
well,
it's okay, but most of in the house itself, the electric has been done already, and now that area, because it is a mess, you stuff that doesn't work. You cannot turn on the light. It's like, yeah. But we've been renovating this place since we bought it 2 years ago. It's a slow process, but inside everything is as good as done. And I have a beautiful office in a 10 by 20 feet sunroom. Actually, put double pane glass in it, so it's okay even with the heat. So it is. I love the process, the whole, that you can build something in here. And that is the same as what we have to do for ourselves. You're building it. It's okay if it goes slow. There is always an end result, and a maintaining, because if I wouldn't maintain this house, it's going to be a mess. And with our bodies, we take everything for granted. Haven't we done all that? When you're young, you feel like you're invincible. There's nothing that it's gonna happen to you. You will be okay. Then when you get older, it's like, well, maybe I should, eat better. And then we get all these symptoms, and it's like, heck, now I do have to eat better. And still, it is not that easy for people. And I do hope that when people use the mucus-less foods list, that they can see what is all possible. Because some people say it's boring, and it's like, yeah, but what do we actually expect? The way that we have been enjoying, because we did enjoy our food, go to salads bar, you have half a dozen, if not more, different things on your plate, and that is not how we are supposed to eat. I'm very happy with my two bananas and a few dates for lunch. And it is that simple. So, use that mucusless foods list in even the 1 to 7 points. They are great for transitioning and maintaining. And yeah, an experiment with a nut here and there, not a handful, not a bagful, a few. So thanks, Sarah, for taking over from me, and Gary, of course. I'm sure you all did great. Very happy to have 2 extra guests on. So, and I think that was because I actually put it up as an event in the group Garden of Eden social on Facebook. So that may be a better way to reach more people. Because if we only do it to well, probably the Dr. Morse's groups, it's almost feels like preaching to the choir. But that's okay too, because I do feel I'm learning from you, Sarah. I'm learning from Ted, from Gary. I'm always learning something new that I hadn't thought of. So very happy with you guys for being here, and let's just do it next week again. I think this format works beautifully.
I do too, and
I
thank
agree.
you.
I agree.
Thank you, Gary
Thank
and
you.
Toni.
So love to you all, and let's just, unless there are questions that haven't been answered, but it was kind of quiet when I came in, so I was like, okay. So we're gonna do more next week. It's almost 2 hours today, and everyone listening, thank you for being here. I would love to see you back on next week. Know that you can be on live, and we appreciate your questions and comments. And till the next time, love to you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.